Okay, let's get started.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. As you can see from the title, today's video is going to be my full review with spoilers of Rebirth. This psychological horror film was released back in January of this year on the Sundance Film Festival. Then it got released in theaters in August, and now, today, November 10, is available to stream on the horror streaming service Shudder. Now, as always, all my reviews are with spoilers. If you don't want them, just to see if this was worth it or not, on the description box down below, there you're going to find my spoiler-free review, because I like to give you guys the two options. And saying that disclaimer, let's get into the video. Now, Rebirth follows a morse technician successfully reanimates the body of a little girl, but to keep her breathing, she will need to harvest biological material from pregnant women. When the girl's mother, a nurse, discovers her baby alive, they enter into a deal that forces them both down a dark path of no return. The film has a running time of 1 hour and 38 minutes, and to give a brief summary, the film opens with a woman that is pregnant. She is getting surgery and she dies, but the baby is alive. So we see how the newborn, we can see that she wasn't fully prepared to give birth, since we see that it's very little. The baby is being taken care by the labor nurse Celine, I never really got how her name was pronounced, and the corpse of the mother is being brought to Rose, that is the morgue technician. We quickly learn that they are working in the same hospital, but they do not know each other. They even cross paths at some point on the elevator, but we can see that there's a very distinguished difference between these two. While Rose, she dislikes human interaction and she definitely prefers to be working with corpses, and she's even rude to her co-worker and everyone else. She's very cold and also very calculated. She only does things if they're going to be beneficial for her and her experiments. And then we have the nurse Sally. I'm gonna call her Sally. Never got how her name was actually pronounced. We see that she loves her work. She takes good care of her patients. We can see her having a moment with a mother that she's trying to push, but she can't. She loves what she's doing. She loves her little daughter, that is Lila. She is 6. On the morning, Lila is sick, but since Sally cannot take her to her work, that is the hospital, she leaves her with her neighbor. But during her shift, her cell phone falls into the water of the toilet and of course doesn't work. So she does not receive all the messages that her neighbor left to her, and when she arrives to the apartment, she sees a note and the blood on the floor. When Sally arrives to the hospital, she died of meningitis. It was very subtle, she had no idea, and by the moment that she arrives, the corpse is already with Rose. We can see that the corpse sparks some interest in her. And since both the trailer and the synopsis is telling us what is going to happen, we know that Rose is taking Lila's body with her. Sally starts to get suspect of Rose when she goes down to the morgue to try to say goodbye to her girl, but Rose claims that the body is not there. When she goes to where the body is supposed to be, they tell her it's not here. So when she becomes suspect of Rose, she follows her home, she gets into her apartment, and this is when she sees Lila. And instead of her being furious, having that many emotions, she's happy. She is calm that her daughter is alive. Rose was able to reanimate Lila, but at what cost? Essentially, she needs to get some tissue from pregnant women. She needs to make some type of mix and turns into a serum that is the one that is going to bring the person back to life. And you have to do a match with the blood. A lot of science stuff that they do explain throughout the film. But like I said, they need pregnant woman tissue. So what Rose has been doing is that she will get herself pregnant. She will take the sperm from strange men that she will meet. For example, we see her in a bar. She meets a guy, they go into the bathroom, she has a machine with her, she takes the sperm, she returns home, and we see how she gets into the floor and she basically inserts all of that into her. And it works. She becomes pregnant. But then she has a type of abortion and she has all the tissue. She does what she needs to do, and then she repeats the process. But eventually she caught an infection and she needs to get surgery, and because of this she cannot longer conceive. But we do remember that Sally works as a labor nurse. So she decides that she's going to be stealing the tissue from a patient that is a match to Lila. And since she has to do some checks and some blood work, she's going to be stealing that. But when we see that the patient is not longer returning to the hospital because she feels that the doctors are not taking good care of her with the missing results, she decides to go to another hospital to give birth. Once Sally and Rose realize that they no longer have enough for Lila to live more than a few weeks, we could say at first, okay, so maybe they're going to accept the fact that it's going to happen. And Sally does. She lays with Lila that she has been doing progress. She was making vocalizations, she was opening her eyes, she was walking. She was making some type of progress, but she eventually dies. And we could be thinking, okay, maybe this is it. But no, this is the twist that I did not saw coming at all. We see that Sally, she goes to the patient's house, that her name is Emily. She basically poisons Emily and then calls the paramedics and makes her go to her hospital to make her go into labor early so that they can steal the tissue. But she was the woman from the beginning. The opening scene, since the way that it's filmed, you cannot really see who is the patient. And for the context, it never gives away what is actually happening. She was the woman from the beginning, so we know that she's going to die and that the baby is going to be okay, but at what cost? Now they do have enough tissue and also the placenta. That is going to give them at least a year for Lila to be alive and for them to do this again, or maybe have another solution by then. And the film concludes with Lila being reanimated once again. Now, getting very quickly into my review, for me, the best part of the films are the performances. Both actresses were so damn good. You can really see and feel everything that these two characters are going through. Because, like I said at the beginning, they are very different, but we can see how these two are suffering from the experiment. First, Sally, she is a good woman. She loves her daughter. She destroys her mental stability, her morals, and her work ethic in order to save her daughter. And we can see how at the end, she completely loses herself. She is willing to do everything. She basically killed a woman in order to steal the placenta to keep her girl alive, instead of coping with the fact that her girl is gone and that probably will never be the same thing. Because like I said, she did make some progress, and she even killed one of Rose's experiments, that it was a pig that she was able to reanimate. But still, you don't know what is going to happen eventually. And then we have Rose. Like I said, she's very cold, she's very rude, but we can see from some moments how she's dropping her guard and she is allowing some feelings to get with her, especially now that she has to work with Sally and everything coming with Lila. But she quickly shuts, like nothing is going to affect her. She gets affected by the fact that she cannot longer conceive, but because that is going to affect her experiment, not because maybe she in the future thought having a baby and being a mother. Now for her, it was all science. And she even says at some point, this is science. She never allows any emotions to overwhelm her, but at what cost? We can also see how she's being harmed on the same way. I really like the contrast of having one woman taking care of people after life and the other one when they get into this world. I thought that was a very good contrast there, and also Birth, Rebirth. I think that everything aligned very well. The cinematography and the setting is claustrophobic and dark and really adds to the atmosphere, but this film lacks of that scary / horror atmosphere. So when you do a film that is inspired by Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein, we know that the monster of Frankenstein, he at the end of the day, he's harmless, but at the same time, he doesn't have the capabilities to understand what is right or wrong. We know that he throws a girl into the water on the film, and I don't really think that he meant to kill her, but he did. And here we have Lila, that she killed the pig as a reaction because he bites her. So that's a reaction. Maybe she didn't meant to kill it, but she did. And that was the only moment that I truly felt that scary slash monster atmosphere, because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be about the creator and the monster. So you're not giving me that dynamic. We see them making progress, but they don't create a full relationship, especially Rose and Lila, because of course we have Sally with Lila as her daughter. I would have liked to see more of Rose with Lila, because she's always seeing her as just science. We never see how dangerous she can become. We don't really see all the consequences that could happen because of this. We know them, but I would have liked them to see them. Another thing is that I felt that the film felt way too long. It takes its time to build up the character development, all the details, or the story, yes, but it becomes at some point that it's becoming way too slow and it's hard to keep engaging with what is happening. But still, it's not predictable because, like I said, I never saw coming the twist of the ending. Was honestly a brilliant idea, because the way that the film at the beginning is presented, it doesn't give you the context. It's a foreshadow moment, but it doesn't give you context for you to guess what is going to happen at the end. And also the fact that the decisions that these both women made, they aren't what you could be expecting. Like I said, Sally, instead of being furious with Rose, she's happy because now she has an opportunity with her daughter. She's willing to take care of her. She is willing to do everything that she does that is questionable. And then we have Rose, that for her, nothing matters, only science. And when she sees that Lila kills the pig, I was expecting for her to be sad, some type of rage, but nothing. She did nothing. And that's something good. I'm not saying that on a negative aspect, but it caught me off guard. But as a good thing, because you could be expecting something, but then the film does another thing. And I thought that was pretty good. The reality is that the film is very good. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. If you do not like slow-paced psychological horror, this may not be for you. But still, I had a good time. But for me, it would be a 3 out of 5. Could have been a little bit better just for that part where it lacks of the horror aspects and that monster details that I was expecting from it, but for the rest, I think it was pretty good. Now, like I said, it's a 3 out of 5, 7.5 out of 10 is a recommendation if you have Shudder. It's also available on video on demand a few months ago, so whatever you have, if you want to sit down and watch it, you can go and do it now. But I think that this is all. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what you thought about this film. Did you like it? You didn't? Let me know, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.